Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second program of 2017. As many of you know, I usually get up here and talk for 20 minutes or so about something fabulous in our town, but I've been working really hard lately, and my father, Dennis, and Stu Freeman have spent the last 2 months working together to put together a really nice history and legacy of what the Freeman family and the Lazara family have done in Culver City. So for right now, I just would like to remind everybody your blue tickets. We have 2 gifts we're giving away tonight at the end of the program. And your raffle tickets, we'll give a raffle at 50-50 after the program. And I also invite you to come into the Ark and see the display of our costume, which today is Jennifer Jones. So without any more time of me up here, I'm going to introduce my father, Dennis, and the Stu Freeman family.
There he is. Sit down, Stuart. Well, hopefully everything will work okay.
Bring the mic closer to you, Dad.
Huh?
Bring the mic closer.
How's that? Is that better? Okay, the journey for the Freeman family starts back in Riga, Latvia, when Louis Freeman is born to Joseph Freeman and Bess Wise. The date was June 6, 1883. Louis was one of 6 children, 2 of which were later born in Pennsylvania in the 1890s after the family immigrated to the U.S. Joseph owned a produce business in Homestead, Pennsylvania, which he ran for many years. And he was very proud of becoming an American citizen on December 30th, 1897. Louis and his siblings grew up and worked hard and thrived in Pennsylvania. At an early age, Louis acquired a horse cart, but he had no horse. He soon met and became friends with a guy named Harry, who owned a blind horse, but didn't have a cart. The horse had been retired from the fire department in Homestead for obvious reasons, so they decided to go together and put the horse before the cart and began selling vegetables and roots door to door. One day, so the story goes, they picked up a load of watermelons in the cart to sell, and as they were going on their route, a horse-drawn fire wagon roared by with the bell clanging, which caused the old blind horse to remember his training, and he took off after the fire wagon. The results were they lost most of the watermelons into the street, causing one huge mess. Louis eventually got rid of the cart and opened his own produce store on 8th Avenue in Homestead, where it operated until 1924. Molly Rosen was born in Jena, Russia in 1882. She was the oldest of 9 children born to Israel and Rachel Rosen, and the family immigrated to the U.S. in the late 1800s. They also settled in Homestead, Pennsylvania. This put her on a path to meet and eventually marry Louis Freeman in Pittsburgh in 1903. The marriage produced 2 children, Sarah in 1905 and Bert in 1911. The family lived in Pennsylvania till 1924, when adventurous Louis decided to make a car trip all the way across the U.S. At 6 o'clock in the morning, so the paper says, Louis and his family set out on a 4-month auto trip across the U.S. Louis had his car all set up for camping, including a fridge. And when the weather didn't cooperate, they'd stay in a hotel. The trip's purpose was to gratify Louis's desire to bathe in 2 oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific. He also wanted his family to see the beauty of America. Their journey ended in the new and growing town founded by Harry Culver, aptly named Culver City. Louis was inspired by what he saw and became a pioneer merchant in the city. He opened the family-owned business, a food market in the center of town. The Freeman Market provided fresh meats and vegetables to such noted establishments as the California Country Club, the Fox Hills Country Club up on Slauson Avenue, as we all remember that if you're my age, and Sebastian's Cotton Club, which we all remember if you're my age. A major portion of their business was also with the new MGM studios for use in their films and in the commissary to feed the actors and crews. They also provided meat and produce to feed the animals at the studio's animal farm on Jefferson Boulevard. The occupants of the farm included Leo the lion, shown here being photographed and recorded for the now famous logo that opened all of MGM Studios' films and shorts. The farm also had deer, rhinos, elephants, and many other animals used in the MGM's film. Lewis's son Bert, shown here with the MGM Leo the Lion, would ride his red motor scooter to the studio almost every day to make deliveries. I was told that Lewis Freeman and Louis B. Mayer were good friends back east prior to Mayer's entry into the motion picture business. During the filming of The Wizard of Oz, all of the scenes with the shiny red apples on the trees in the forest scene came from the Freeman Market. The Freemans would come and go as they pleased at the MGM lot. During the Depression, times were hard. Father O'Donnell of St. Augustine's Parish and Lewis Freeman at the Freeman Market worked together to help people in need. Father O'Donnell would tell Lewis who the families were that needed help, and Lewis made sure that these families had food on their tables. No one had to go hungry while Molly and Lewis operated their little family store in Culver City. Their kindness was repaid to them many times over, and they had the satisfaction of knowing they lived their lives well and good. Lewis was honorary VP of the Temple Beth Jacob, where he received Man of the Year Award in 1958. He was also a life member of the Culver City Masonic Lodge, the Moose Lodge, the Lions Club, the Fraternal Order of Eagles, and the Santa Monica Elks Club, where during the war, he was on the Visitation Committee for the Sick. Lewis would often make trips as far as San Diego to visit the stricken and those in need. He was also one of the 4 founding members of the Culver City Rotary Club. With all of this on his plate, it was no surprise that in 1939, he and Molly, who had worked by his side all this time, decided to retire and enjoy life. Molly was also active with the Eastern Star and the Sisterhood of Temple Beth Jacob during these years. Lewis Freeman passed away on September 8, 1965, after his beloved wife Molly passed away 4 months earlier. Joseph Schwartz, whose parents were Mina and Aaron Schwartz, was born in Bucharest, Romania in 1879. He grew up in Romania, where he would meet and marry Rachel Avram in 1905. They had a son, Cyrus, born in 1909, and in 1910, Joseph immigrated to the U.S., landing in Brooklyn, New York. Rachel followed 2 months later with Cyrus. She soon became pregnant, however, and decided to return to Romania with her son, Cyrus, and have the new child. So on October 11, 1912, a daughter, Minnie, was born, and the 3 returned to New York in 1913 to rejoin Joseph in their quest for the American dream. They all became citizens of the U.S. in 1916, and at that time, they changed their name to Fields. Joseph loved the rolling hills of the country, and they soon found themselves in 1925 making the long trek across country to California, not unlike the Freeman family. Joseph became the branch manager of American Automobile Association, where he worked until 1934. He worked at many other professions until he had a health problem in 1948, a heart attack that slowed him way down. Joseph was a member of the Masonic Lodge and an active member of the Romanian Club of Los Angeles. Rachel was a member of the Sephardic Temple and helped to form Temple Isaiah with her daughter and future son-in-law, along with being an active member of the Romanian Club of Los Angeles. Joseph passed away in 1954. Now is where the story gets interesting. Minnie Fields and Bert Freeman were destined to meet. Bert, a graduate of Los Angeles High in the class of 1929, and Minnie, a graduate of Venice High in 1931, met and eventually were married in 1934. They had two beautiful children, Stuart and Sandra. In 1939, when Louis and Molly decided to retire, the market was sold to Bert and Minnie, and the two of them worked the market together successfully. Stuart told me that one day when he was very young and at the store, George Emerson and his partner from the MGM Animal Farm showed up with a large bear on a leash and caused quite a stir, scaring the daylights out of everyone there. It all ended well, but you can imagine what something like this happening in downtown Los Angeles today would happen. The store flourished until 1949 when they decided to close it down and rent out space to an assortment of businesses along the Washington Boulevard property that they owned. Bert and Minnie continued to stay closely involved with the Culver City community, and Bert was a life member of the Culver Masonic Lodge, Moose Lodge 1612, and 15 years with the Culver City Lions Club. Bert's sister Sarah was an accomplished swimmer from an early age and won many medals in the sport. She also was the captain of the UCLA water polo team and won the national championship in 1926. Sarah graduated from UCLA when it was on Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles before the move to Westwood in 1929. Probably a lot of you didn't know that. She received degrees in physical education and psychology. Sarah taught for more than 30 years in the LA Unified School District. Sarah passed away in 1999 at age 93. Minnie and Bert were founding members of Temple Isaiah, originally founded in Culver City in 1946. Minnie also was president of the B'nai B'rith and the first president of Temple Isaiah Sisterhood. Bert was also the first vice president of Temple Isaiah. During the war, Minnie would double as an air raid warden and a solicitor for the American Red Cross, and in her spare time, she was a USO volunteer at the famous Hollywood Canteen. Mary Pickford, as you can see on the bottom, was an officer of that club. Minnie also wrote in her spare time a column for the Evening Star News about furniture and decorating ideas. Both Bert and Minnie worked tirelessly for the Tortures, a division of the City of Hope, which they loved. Minnie Freeman passed away on March 8, 1990, and Bert passed away December 29th on the same year. Now let's talk about the historic Hull building. This would become the crown jewel of the Freeman family holdings. The Hull building was built in 1925 by Dr. Foster Hull, whose name was affixed with metal letters on the front of the building. It was originally built as a hospital, according to the Star News, and it was the first fully equipped hospital in the area. During the Depression, unfortunately, Dr. Hull lost the building. The building was then bought by Louis Freeman, and Louis redid and leased all the spaces to an assortment of tenants, including a drugstore operated by the Chudikoff family, Cayman Shoes, Sada's Flowers, later Culver City Florist, owned by the Eskridge family, on the ground floor, plus an assortment of restaurants, including Columbo's. He then converted the upstairs to sleeping rooms for singles, The Culver City Moose Lodge eventually moved into the upstairs, space previously used by the dance studio, and was there for several years. The drugstore was taken over by Joe Wellington, who operated until 1950, when he moved it to the new Culver Center Shopping Center. In 1951, Bert and Minnie opened Freeman's Furniture Store at 9543 Culver Boulevard in the Hull building. The furniture store was there for many years until Bert retired for health reasons. Freeman's Furniture was a solid fixture in the downtown Culver City area until it closed in 1978. The Freemans then leased the building to the Bank of Orange County, who occupied it for many years. The bank had some problems, so they later subleased the site to an assortment of restaurants, including Bella Pasta and San Gennaro. The downstairs location has been occupied by a kosher restaurant since 2006, and the upstairs has been used by office space by an assortment of local businesses and Sony Studios. The whole building has survived for all of these years through earthquakes and all the elements and changes to the downtown area. The Freeman family reinforced and improved the structure over the years to conform to new changes in the building code and improve building safety developments. It is said with all the steel reinforcements that's been added, it's probably one of the sturdiest buildings in the area despite its age. The building has been in the Freeman family for many generations, and hopefully many more to come. The whole building has been given the status as Historical Site Number 2 by the Culver City Historical Society. And on January 26, 1983, there was a ceremony officiated by Charlie Lugo, father of our own Julie Lugo. This now brings us to Bert and Minnie's children, Stuart and Sandra. Sandra was born in 1936 when they lived on Duquesne Avenue, commonly known as Duquesne. Growing up, she worked both at the market and the furniture store. On the weekends, she could be found wrapping gifts in the gift department. After graduating from Los Angeles High, she went to work for Prudential Life Insurance, then at age 22, married Jay Wager and moved to Fullerton to be near her husband's work at Hughes. They were founding members of Temple Beth Tikya in Fullerton. They raised 3 children, Rachel, Rhonda, and Alan.
You pick the pictures.
That's the only picture I could get. Later, she went on to have a successful career in real estate. In 2016, she celebrated with Stuart and Bonnie her 80th birthday at the Culver Hotel, which was decorated in the theme of her favorite film of all time, The Wizard of Oz. Now we get to the interesting part. Stuart was born in 1939. He also worked at the store like his sister, after school and weekends for 20 years. He graduated from Hamilton High in 1957. Stuart married and had a daughter, Jennifer, in May 31st of 1989. And at age 27, Jennifer went on to become a nurse at Children's Hospital in Birmingham, Alabama, where she served in the ICU ward. Her dad is very proud of her. From 1960 to 72, Stu worked at Morris Furniture Manufacturing, but then in 1972, he had a great idea. He thought he'd open a restaurant in Marina Del Rey at 26 Washington Street. He called it Cafe du Jour. Stu wanted outside seating, but the city said no. He had a conversation with the inspector and pled his case for the seating. The inspector asked if he was going to have takeout food, and Stuart pled, of course. And the inspector said, well, then it's okay. Cafe du Jour became a very popular hangout. Stuart also rented roller skates out of this location. What a good idea that turned out to be. Stu decided to sell the business eventually and retire, so he thought. In 1986, his dad, Bert, and Bert's sister, Sarah, asked Stu to take over and manage the operations of Freeman's properties. Bert was having health problems and it was time to step down. Stu agreed and has been managing partner of the family company ever since. Stuart's been very active both in Culver City and Los Angeles City activities. He was president of the Historical Society for 2 terms. He was a founding member of the Downtown Business Association and served on the board of the Business Improvement District. Freeman Properties was the first property in downtown to participate in the city's facade improvement program in 1994. He has an office behind Allendale's on Washington Boulevard where he runs the Freeman Property Company. This building also contains multiple rental apartments. Stuart's cousin, Barry and Bonnie, from Bert's sister, Sarah, are also partners in the family-owned business, but they are not involved in the day-to-day managing of the company. Barry, with his wife, Rochelle, created a successful furniture manufacturing company, Lazar Industries, which is now run by their son, Daryl, after Barry passed away. Daryl is now the first of the 4th generation to be partnered in the Freeman Properties. That was a tough one to get out. Bonnie, who is an accomplished photographer, traveled the world and has written a book about the buffaloes of Yellowstone National Park. She has 2 children, Michelle and Kenny. This pretty well brings us up to date on the Freeman family and the properties, the businesses they founded, and have helped add to the history of Culver City. I hope you've enjoyed the trip down the Freeman Yellow Brick Road as much as I have putting it together. The family story deserved to be told, and the family members honored for their work and dedication to the city and our rich heritage. I'd now like to bring up Stuart and Sandra to say a few words and to answer any questions that you might have that weren't covered. Here, wherever you want.
Any short questions? She'll take the long ones. Yes?
She'll take the long one.
I know that the movie Tron used the exterior of the whole building. Any other movies?
Yeah, a lot of films over the years. They just had a few with Natalie Portman, and they've shot 3 or 4 since Akasha's been in the building. But all over the last 20, 30 years, there's always been commercials, movies, TV shows shot in the building. Yes, sir.
What about an older, like silent movie, the Hal Roach days, enabled Laurel and Hardy or Our Gang?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. I know there was a gentleman that came from Denmark who had written a book about Laurel and Hardy and had a picture of all of the movies that they had made on Main Street in front of all of the stores that were there at the time. But I don't think we were part of it. Not that I know anyway. Any other questions? Well, thank you. Yeah?
Sorry, the whole building, now, was that a doctor's office or was it an actual hospital, they said?
Yeah, it was built as a first hospital in Culver City. And
Unusual hospital structure.
well, yeah, back in the day, maybe that's why he lost it, because I think he kind of overbuilt it, you know. It's a beautiful architectural statement there, you know, so lucky for us, you know, what can I say? Yes, sir. Ma'am, I'm sorry.
It's a beautiful building.
Thank you.
You know how long it was a hospital?
I don't know exactly, but it built it in 25 and lost it in the 30s during the Depression, so they had a little bit of a run. And from what I understand, it was for mostly industrial accidents is what they served. The article in the paper said it had the latest state-of-the-art equipment. They had X-ray, and that was state-of-the-art at the time. And we don't have an elevator in the building. We do have a very steep stairway, and in the day, from what I understand, it had a ramp. So after the people had their surgeries downstairs, they were rolled upstairs to convalesce. And then, as Dennis mentioned, it went through many transitions. One was that they had, I don't want to say a flop house, but they had about 8 or 10 apartments up there that men lived in there. And there was this wonderful woman, Mrs. Dupin, who was kind of like their den mother. So she cooked for them and cleaned for them and took care of them. And then when we leased it to the Bank of Orange County, she moved across the street to our apartment house. So that would be 1980 or so. Well, before my father passed away, in 1990, he came to me and he told me about Mrs. Dupin. He says, look, he knew his days were numbered. He said, my dad came to me before he passed away and says, as long as she's alive, you send her a check every month. It was a pension. And she lived into her 90s. She went back to Kentucky where she came from, and she'd call me every month, the first of the month, to let me know she was alive. Well, she had, the reason we set it up that way, she had a couple sons that were ne'er-do-wells that would take advantage of her. We wanted to know that she was alive and well, and I'd send her a check every month. So this is one of the things that matched the character of my grandfather, the way we talked about how he worked with the priest over at St. Augustine's. Just giving beyond what's required, and I'm very proud of that, and our family's very proud of that. Yes?
Are there any vestiges of the original hospital design that are still part of the building today that you would recommend?
Well, just the outside. Being a historic landmark building, you need to keep the outside, but you're entitled to do anything you want with the interior, obviously, to accommodate whatever business you're going to do. So over, 70 years, there's been a lot of changes. We've had, like I say, with the drugstore, with Sunset Drug, we had a fountain in there, served food. It's been many things. We're happy to have it, believe me. Yes, sir.
Stu, you and your family have been a significant part of our centennial celebration. And I was wondering, in the years that you've been in the city, what are some of the major changes that you have seen about our community?
Well, that's a good question. Certainly, back in the day, back in the 40s and early 50s, things were pretty good here in Culver City. I remember an article not too long ago that says, oh, finally Culver City has come to life. Well, I remember when we had bowling alleys, we had 2 movie theaters, we had good shopping. There was a time. But after Culver Center got built, everything kind of turned sour for us because all the action went over that. Matter of fact, a couple years ago, I had a friend that called me up. She was writing an article for a San Diego paper, and she wanted some information on Culver City. And she said, I knew nothing, but the only thing I knew about it, she says, when my dad was teaching me how to drive, we'd come to Culver City because there was no traffic there. So I said, well, things have changed. So so our city leaders, fortunately, realized what a potential we had here back in '94. At the same time that we were doing our facade renovation, we were building the new city hall. The city spent $11 million on a beautiful streetscape. And then we started with a charrette where we had homeowners, business owners, the property owners all got together and drew a vision of what we'd like to see the city become. And through that cooperation, we accomplished what we have now. And that's a great part of this town. Small town, a lot of people who care, a lot of people in this organization. I'm so happy that Julie brought me into this organization where I met so many people, even Earl. I still like Earl. Now, Earl, Culver Flowers was a tenant of ours at the Hall building back in the 40s, and I was online recently. Normally I don't go online, but Dennis did such a fabulous job. He's inspired me to go online to see what I could find with our history, and I found that Earl was there in 1949, and that they still owed us some money, but I'm here to say we're not going to pursue legal action because we've been friends for 20 years, and besides, the attorneys told us it's too late. And then Giselle and Ken Smith over there, we go back to high school together. We used to go to the drive-in movies. I would be in the special seat in the trunk of his 50 Ford, but that was good because after the movie, he'd let me out and tell me about the movie. And his wife Giselle, who's a former mayor here, we found out that brother and sister.
About that?
Yeah, if you want to talk about that. Vic?
My parents, Joe and Lisa Lawless, were good friends with Bert and Minnie.
Yeah.
And I even met Stu's grandparents. Well, there's this urban legend. Stu's mom was giving birth to him at the Culver Hospital the same time that my mother was giving birth to me. And I thought, oh, that was just so neat. We were born the same day, the same time, the same year. And then we got an invitation to maybe your 65th birthday.
60th,
party,
yeah. Okay.
May 8th. And I said, wait a minute, I was born on June 20th. So we found out that, we weren't
Right.
actually going to the same room. But to make up for it, when I had my 75th birthday party, Stu, who was not as online and technically...
That's my family laughing at me.
made a copy of his birth certificate and then whited out stuff and made it so we were both born on the same day at Peter Sinai. Separated at birth, right?
Yeah, I told her the shock, two shocks. Not only that she was born at Cedar Sinai, but also now she knows she's Jewish, which she never had. But, yeah.
I hate to go contemporary on you, but I'm really intrigued by the restauranting and roller skating connection. I was wondering if you could kind of tell us a little bit about those years and maybe... It's got to be a tailor.
Well, I know that looked like it was just nothing but a lot of fun and some, but it was very hard work. And because the Smiths would come every Friday on clam chowder day and bring the boys after hockey. But no, it was fun. It was the 70s. It was sidewalk cafe, roller skates. Somebody had to do it, so.
I still have my skates.
Yeah?
I still have my skates.
All right, very good. Me too. Let's go skating. Yeah, no, those were good times, definitely. Yeah, but Dad and my aunt, they needed me to come in here, so I had to put the skates down and go to work. And it's been great. Like I say, what's the town? It's the people, and there's a lot of great people in this room that I'm privileged to know and associate with, and happy to be here. Yeah, Ken.
Quick question, Stu.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get online?
I lied. I didn't do it.
What kind of phone do you have now?
Oh, he's got the right phone.
10 years ago?
I don't know how to use it. But looks good, right? Anyway, thank you. Good to see you all here tonight. we're flattered that you came out. Thank you. And I want to thank Dennis and Hope, because he put all this together. And it's one thing, you think you know your family history, but when somebody, takes the time to really research it and do it right, it puts it in a totally different perspective. And I appreciate it. I'm sure my family does. I know for my nieces and nephews, this is the first time for them on a lot of this information. So thank you, Dennis. Beautiful job.
Hold on for the giveaways.
You want to come over, Stu? Okay. Stu, I want to, from my heart, say thank you so much. I did not know you until I joined the Culver City Historical Society, as many other people, like the Jacobs and the Estridges. And I mean, I knew her all from working in the film business and things, but Michelle and Julie, and it's just been a joy to know you. And I'm really glad that you're now connected to the internet, because we don't have to drop the hard copies off at the Menmos anymore to your office. So if you have your blue ticket, I'm going to let Stu pull the blue ticket. And we've got two things we're giving away tonight. We're going to give away our license plate cover for the back of your car, because everybody needs to know where we're from. And then also one of Julie and Mark Wanamaker's books, The Movie Studios of Culver City. So first we'll give away this. 975-511. Mr. Jacobs. Okay, we're going to have a re-pull, because Paul is gracious enough to give this to us. 975-505. Oh. Okay, and now for our book. 975-496.
Here.
Oh, nice. Thank you, and here's your book.
Good job.
How much is our 50-50 tonight? Oh, so the lucky winner with the pink ticket will get $100. So Sandra, I'm going to come to you and let you pull.
Thank you. Big one, big one.
Family can't
Okay. 579-1486. Come on, Winnell. I know you're out there. You didn't get it this time? 597-1486.
Yeah, right here.
Barry? So as usual, like Michelle, this is also, unless I come back again, this will be my last year doing the programs, because we term out. But it's always great to volunteer and be a part of the society. We are making amazing strides in our library and our costume collection, and the people that are part of it are just truly amazing people, and we're always looking for people to want to join up and volunteer and just take a Sunday and, you know, go through some magazines and go through some piles and help art in our museum committee, you know, work around. So if there's any time you have free time and you'd like to come join us, the first and third Sundays of the month, and then get involved. I encourage you to come back on our next program. We will be doing a program on the Culver City Fire Department, and it's beginning, and Chief will be doing the presentation on that, and it should be one to not miss. So until the next time, if there's nothing else, have a good weekend. Thank you, everybody.